So you're looking for the best free-to-play games on Steam. I got you covered with a list of 25 that I personally recommend, and I've broken them down based on the type of game that they are. Some of these games are new, some of them have been around for a while, but all of them are worth your time, especially if you're looking for something within that genre. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Now let's dive into the list. Competitive and action-focused picks. Counter-Strike 2 is a definitive tactical first-person shooter on Steam. 5 versus 5 bomb rounds, raw aim, utility timing, and map control decide everything. If you want a genre benchmark where every peek, smoke, and retake still matters, this is the cleanest place to start. It remains enormous today, with a very positive Steam review and massive recent peak that keeps matchmaking, esports awareness, and community discussion permanently active. The caveat is that the skill floor is high and the culture can be unforgiving if you just want a laid-back shooter. Dota 2 is a heavyweight MOBA. Lane control, juggling, vision, objective timing, and hero synergy all matter, and every match feels like a strategy game disguised as a team brawler. With more than 100 heroes and endless counterplay, it's built for players who like depth over simplicity. It's still one of Steam's busiest games, and Valve's own store page still emphasizes regular updates to heroes, features, and gameplay. The trade-off is obvious. Recent reviews are mixed and the learning curve is famously steep, so it's brilliant for committed players and rough on casual dabble. Marvel Rivals is a team-based hero shooter built around 6v6 fights, flashy character kits, and combo-driven team-up abilities that let heroes amplify one another in ways most shooters do not attempt. Its destructible maps make it feel more dynamic than a typical corridor brawler. It's great to play now because the player base is still huge. The store page points out seasonal hero and map drops, and cross-platform support lowers the barrier to jumping in with friends. The caveats are mixed recent reviews, in-app purchases, and fairly demanding PC footprint with 16 gigs of RAM and 70 gigs of storage recommended. Now the next one is one of my favorites of all time, and it cross-platforms on mobile as well. I'm talking about Warframe, which is a co-op looter shooter built on hyper-fast movement, acrobatic melee, science fiction gunplay, and a giant roster of Warframes that feel like classes with wildly different power fantasy. It's part mission grinder, part build crafting obsession, and part long-form space opera. It still feels great today because Steam reviews remain positive, the player base is healthy, and Digital Extreme is still posting major updates and events in 2026 through its official newsfeed. The main caveat here is scale. Progression systems and currencies can feel overwhelming, and a lot of times people say the grind is just too much. Destiny 2 is an MMO looter shooter that mixes excellent first-person gunplay with raids, strikes, story missions, ability builds, and competitive modes. Few free games combine tight shooting, big science fiction spectacle, and cooperative endgame structure this smoothly. It's still easy to recommend because recent reviews are positive and the active player base remains one of Steam's largest amongst free games. The catch is that the free download is more of a gateway than a full package because the best campaigns and much of the premium endgame live around paid promotions. This one also has a mobile counterpart as well now. The Finals is an arena first-person shooter built around destruction, movement, class builds, and objective chaos inside game-shown maps that can literally fall apart mid-fight. It plays faster and messier than tactical shooters, but it still rewards coordination and smart loadouts. It remains worth playing because the Steam rating is positive, the player base is stable, and fully destructible matches make it feel different amongst every rival. The caveat is extra account steps through Embark ID, you have anti-cheat systems, and optional monetization. Team Fortress 2 is the old-school class-based hero shooter that still nails clear roles, readable maps, and cartoonish combat better than many modern successors. Whether you like rocket jumping, flanking, healing, or setting traps, the class identity is still immediately fun. It's on the list because it's old, but not abandoned in practice. Recent reviews are very positive, and the player base is still huge enough to keep pubs, custom servers, and workshop culture alive. The caveat is that it absolutely feels older, and its chaos is part of the charm only if you're okay with a rougher edge. Naraka Blade Point is a melee battle royale that replaces gun duels with swordplay, parries, grappling hooks, parkour, and hero abilities. It feels faster and more vertical than the average last player standing game, and its combat has more fighting game mind games than most battle royales. It's still relevant because the player base is strong, overall Steam sentiment is still very positive in English, and movement plus melee loops remain unusual enough to stand out. The caveat is mixed recent reviews, in-app purchases, and a heavier PC requirement than the art style would first suggest. And the last for our action is Brawlhalla is the free platform fighter that gives you the fast knockback combat, simple controls, ranked play, party chaos, and constant cycle of legends and crossover events. It's easy to understand in minutes and hard to master over months. It's still a great pick because cross-platform matchmaking keeps the audience broad, the game still gets frequent updates, and it supports everything from casual couch sessions to serious ranked climbing. The caveat though is recent reviews are mixed, and the free rotation means you may feel nudged towards character unlocks if you want a permanent main quickly. Now let's talk about games that have a lot of progression involved. We're going to start with Path of Exile. PoE is a classic dark fantasy action RPG for players who want theory crafting, loot explorations, and absurdly deep character builds. Its combat is fast and punchy, but the real hook is how every passive choice, gem link, and item drop can reshape your build. It's still excellent today because Steam reviews remain very positive, the game still pulls meaningful daily traffic, and Grinding Gear Games still presents it as completely free and not pay to win. The caveat is its complexity. This one is the least beginner-friendly on the entire list. Wuthering Waves is an open-world action RPG with fast dodge counter combat, party swapping, and anime-styled exploration built around movement and precision. Compared with slower RPG grinds, it feels more immediate because fights are built around timing, parries, and flashy combo chains. This one also has very positive reviews on Steam, and currently the population is healthy for a newer RPG. The caveat though is the usual live service baggage, in-app purchases, required game account from Curo, and the anti-cheat system. Once Human is a game that I put a massive video out on the channel just last week. You should go check it out if you're interested, and that's the next game on the list. Once Human is a multiplayer, open-world survival shooter set in a surreal post-apocalyptic world where base building, crafting, looting, and monster fights all feed into shared progression loops. It sits somewhere between sandbox survival, extraction tension, and co-op shooter spectacles. It feels especially good to recommend now because recent reviews are awesomely positive and the player count is strong enough to make the shared world feel alive. The negatives though is it still asks for account connection, and like many survival games, the grind can get real if you chase every system. Albion Online is another great one here, which is a sandbox MMO RPG built around a player-driven economy, full loot tension, classless, you are what you wear progression, and open world PvP. If you like the idea of gathering, crafting, trading, guild politics, and danger living in the same space, Albion still does that better than most. It remains a solid play because the population is healthy. The recent review trend is positive, and the classless build system makes it unusually flexible for newcomers who hate re-rolling. The caveats are the account requirements, the battle eye, and PvP heavy economy that can feel punishing if you want a fully relaxed MMO. Guild Wars 2 is another MMO RPG that leans into exploration, dynamic events, open world boss fights, and fast action combat more than old-fashioned quest treadmill designs. It's one of the easiest MMOs to enjoy casually because the world rewards just showing up and participating. It's still a very modern recommendation because recent and overall Steam reviews are both very positive and the community remains active. The base game still gives you a huge amount of sample without a subscription, so there's obviously more that you can get with a subscription. The negatives though is that the expansions and living world content are where the game's biggest long-term toys live, and existing non-Steam accounts don't transfer into Steam access. Poly is the cozy alternative on the list, a life sim MMO where crafting, farming, decorating, cooking, fishing, and low-pressure exploration matter more than combat stress. It's a warm, readable, and easy to recommend to players who want community without constant competition. It's genuinely great to play because recent Steam reviews on this one are positive, the player base is steady, and the official site is still posting new 2026 events and notes. The negative though is it uses in-app purchases, separate Apalia account as well, so the experience is cozy, but the service layer is still there. Star Wars Old Republic is a story-driven MMORPG that still stands out for cinematic dialogue, class fantasy, and fully voiced questing. If you want a free MMO that feels unusually narrative heavy, this is one of the best options on Steam. It has positive reviews, the community is still active enough to support grouping in social spaces, and the official page still emphasizes ongoing updates. The caveat of this one is account linking setup, separate client requirements, which make the install a little less seamless than most Steam native games. Unturned is a survival sandbox with zombies, crafting, raiding, co-op, PvP, community maps, and one of the most durable mod-friendly ecosystems in free Steam gaming. Its blocky visuals undersell how flexible the survival loop actually is. It has extremely good reviews, the population is healthy, and the Steam Workshop plus community servers give it unusual longevity. The negative though is the presentation is rougher than newer survival games, and the monetization layer includes upgraded perks and chance-based purchases. Fishing Planet is a realistic online fishing simulator, making it one of the most genre-diverse picks here on the list, and a welcome break from the constant PvP stuff. The core loop is simple but satisfying. Pick your water, learn the gear, read conditions, and slowly turn knowledge into better catches. The reviews are positive on this one, and the player base is healthy, especially for a specialized simulator. The negatives, though, is like many simulators, it layers progress and convenience spending around the core, and even getting started asks for email registration. Social strategy and specialist picks. VR Chat is less a game than a social sandbox. Custom worlds, custom avatars, events, roleplay spaces, and community creativity are the real content. It thrives on hanging out, exploring weird user-made spaces, and finding sub-communities that match your sense of humor. It still belongs in the best of list because the player count remains enormous for a social platform, and the creation first model means there's always something new to see. The negative though is mixed recent reviews and the fact that your experience depends heavily on finding the right rooms and the right people. Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is a slick digital version of Konami's card game, with fast duels, extensive tutorials, ranked play, solo content, and an enormous card pool for deck builders who like mastering interactions. It's the best free option on Steam if you want a highly recognizable competitive card ecosystem. The player base here is strong, tournaments and events keep rotating, and its cross-platform structure make it easy to keep playing outside of your PC. The caveat here is that the reviews are mixed, and you have some random item purchases that make deck building a bit of a gotcha. Limbus Company is a story-heavy turn-based strategy RPG with a strange combat system, strong art direction, and one of the most dedicated fan communities on Steam. It mixes tactical clashes, deck-like skill logic, and dense lore in a way that feels far more distinctive than the average free RPG. It's one of the strongest niche recommendations here because recent and overall Steam reviews are very positive, and active population is surprisingly large for a text and strategy forward game. The negative here is absolutely not a broad market pick. The tone is dark, the lore is dense, and the monetization layer is still present. Eternal Return is a hybrid of MOBAs, survival routing, crafting decisions, and battle royale pacing, all viewed from a top-down perspective. The result is a game where mechanical skill matters, but preparation, pathing, and item timing matter just as much. It remains a cool pick for strategy-minded players because the rating is good, very positive, and the player count is healthy enough to sustain fast matches. The negative here is that the recent reviews are mixed, and the genre mashup can be confusing if you want something immediately readable. World of Warships is a naval action MMO where positioning, shell travel time, armor angling, spotting, and team tempo matter more than twitch aim. It's slower than shooters on the list, but the pacing is exactly why it's considered tactical. Steam reviews are positive, the community remains active, and the ecosystem is going to keep moving because of that player base. The negative is familiar for wargaming style games. Recent sentiment is softer, in-app purchases can make progression feel nudged rather than purely earned. SCP Secret Laboratory is an asymmetric horror chaos, different classes, escaping prisoners, armed guards, anomalies, sudden betrayals, and total match unpredictability. It's one of those games where the rules create stories even when nobody plays optimally. It's got very positive reviews. The current player count is strong enough to keep the servers running. The caveat, though, is that the experience depends a lot on voice chat, server culture, and the tolerance for beautiful nonsense rather than polished competitive balance. Goose Goose Duck is the best free social deduction option on Steam right now if you want proximity voice chat, more roles than usual formula, and big lobby party energy. It's easy to read, easy to stream, and very good for creating immediate, clip-friendly chaos. It has positive reviews, and the game still pulls a live audience large enough to keep public lobbies and group nights viable. The negative, though, is the social deduction games live or die by the people who play it, so for the best results, you usually need to have a bunch of friends with you or be on good servers. As always, you want to know my two favorites on the list, so I'll let you know. Warframe is number 1. I think the game is fantastic, and number 2 has to be Destiny 2. Both shooters, kind of, I know, but it's my genre, my favorite, and the ones that I would recommend to you if you like action-based shooter games. Remember to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you back here in the next one.